Episode two, another extremely bare run sheet, terrible run sheet. I've learned after one episode of this podcast already that I might be the most unprepared host to ever host a solo podcast because this is bare. But nonetheless, we're going off the cuff today, obviously. Welcome to episode two of Footy and Stuff. If you are new here, this is a brand new footy podcast, as evidenced by the episode two on the title that you clicked on. If you are not new here and you watched last week, thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around. And we're going to get rolling. If you're new and you want an explanation of why this is a thing, go watch last week's episode. I kind of touched on it in the intro there, but not a big episode today because it was a big weekend of footy. So we're going to get rolling with that. Should I write something there? I was just thinking, like, there's three, four if you count the door, very prominent background features here, and the whiteboard's one of them, and it's kind of blank. I don't know what to do with it. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. For now, I'm going to leave it blank. But if this is what the angle is going to look like most weeks, probably got to use that for something, or take it down and put something else there. But we'll work that out later. Okay. Episode two, round review. Let's go. Haven't got a lot. Haven't got a lot. We're off the cuff today. We're going off the dome. Friday night, Essendon Sydney was working, which is great because I watched the whole game. Wow. The first half of this football game was probably one of the worst I've seen from memory, probably the worst I've seen in a long time. Like, it was poor. Mistakes from both sides. Butchered oh my God, some of the turnovers and the butchering of the footy was just like unbelievable. One of the commentators on Triple M said it. I can't remember which of the four it was, but it was like if you were a new football fan tuning into this game of football, specifically the first half, you wouldn't be mistaken for thinking that this was 17 versus 18, and that's just a fact. Because it was awful. Going into the second half, first, before I actually do that, Essendon going into the first half, and I don't have the exact number to fact check this, but I'm pretty sure it was 35 inside 50 to 17, and they were up by 7 points at halftime. That is just not excusable. Not a single excuse in the book for that. So they need to work out what the hell went wrong there, because that's just the worst of the worst. Going into the second half, Sydney get a bit of a chokehold on the game, and it's done from there. And we expected Sydney to do that because they've been slow starters pretty much all year, at least the second half of the year for sure. They've been dreadfully slow starters. So the third quarter, they come out, kick 6 goals. Last quarter, they come out again, kick 6 goals. Bob's your uncle. Game's over. Um, I think this restores a bit of confidence in Sydney for me. I mean, last week did that as well because they really did the same thing to Collingwood. It was just left really late, and they were left to drag it back rather than increase the margin in what was a tussle to that point. So same shit, different smell, really, in terms of what happened relative to the circumstances of the game. God, I'm a waffler. Yeah, I think I have a bit more faith in Sydney now when it comes to September than I did when they were going through that little slump, and that's all it was, a slump. A lot of people said that, and I was pretty confident that they'd come out of that slump as well. Are there still holes? 100%. That first half, those first quarter starts still have to be looked at, like, plain and simple. You can't start like that against a Brisbane. You can't start like that against a Port Adelaide in Adelaide. I don't think in Adelaide matters actually. Port Adelaide are quite good now. Can't start like that against the Giants. So they got to look at that, but I think they're looking a lot better. Isaac Heaney's a star again, got tagged out of it. Shout out to Jai Caldwell for doing that because he was very good in the first half despite the rest of his team and what they were dishing up. He was okay in the second half as well, but I mean, wasn't able to hold Heaney in the same way he did in the first. So that's what that is. Yeah, Heaney just drags him across the line. Outstanding. Not much more to read into with this one, I don't think. Sydney, well done. I tipped them by 9 points, and they've won by 39 points. So, yep, that's the one. Next game, Gold Coast Melbourne. Oh, jeez, bit to read into here. Is it the fact that both teams were done? How heavily does this weigh into a game like this? Because Gold Coast really should have won going into this. They've lost one game at home all year against the Brisbane Lions, who were white hot at that stage. And then they come out against a Melbourne side rather, who have been probably poor for at least 3 quarters of the year. And they got towed up. Absolutely towed up. Jack Viney starred, and if he's still a chance at leaving and he's playing like this for a Melbourne side that probably shouldn't be doing anything, if it's North Melbourne, they've got a good experienced midfielder coming in. I think he'll stay. But that's a story for postseason when we talk about trades and gossip and drafts and whatnot. Yeah, Gold Coast just got belted, absolutely belted. There's nothing else to say about this game. They're both done. I guess Melbourne recoup a little bit of something heading into next season to suggest that they're not completely cooked. They might still be. They might be bottom four next year. They might bump into the top eight again with a decent enough list, depending on the moves they make in the off season. God knows. That's again another story for later. What on D's? Really? Giants and Frio. Thank you, Greater Western Sydney Giants, because we will talk about Carlton's win later. But this is massive. This is huge. Because if the Dockers win this, we need to beat St Kilda this weekend. The Dockers not winning this means that we still need a win to seal finals because there's no guarantee the Dockers don't beat the Power, but it puts us in the driver's seat massively. Without having to fully rely on this result. In terms of the game itself, oh, Brent Daniels, Binger. Oh my God. This is like Gary Ablett Jr. levels of football. Actually, on that point, there was a stat, and it was, I don't know if it was games with 29, 13 tackles and 3 goals, or if it was like 25, whatever. But it was 2 games that Gary Ablett Jr. did it, and 1 game where Brent Daniels did it. So this is quite literally a game that only Gary Ablett Jr. has been capable of. Not Gabri Ablett. I mean, he dragged him over the line, really. No Binger, no chocolates. Like Andrew Brayshaw had 41, Tom Green had 40, so there were other players who had big games, but Jesse Hogan kicked 6 goals, 4, which means he could have single-handedly dragged them further across the line, but I think Binger's the guy. What a game of football. Thank you, Giants. I appreciate you immensely. Next game of football, Collingwood and the Brisbane Lions. Collingwood momentarily thought that this had them in with a chance of finals still. Little did they know Carlton exists, but we'll talk about that later. Nick Dacos is a superstar. He's a superstar. To be fair, not the most well-rounded, outstanding game bell to bell, but that second quarter is just about as good as anyone has dished up in quite some time. Granted, literally 1 week ago against Collingwood, Heaney does his 14-1. Chad also has 14-1 in that last quarter, but 14-2 goals when your backs are against the wall, keeping in mind, going into that second quarter, they're down by 24 points, looking a bit dire. That's probably an understatement. Like they kick a goal late, could have been a lot more. Brisbane are just dominating, and a man named Nick Dacos just drags them, absolutely drags them through the mud and brings them within a goal and really sets them up for what is eventually going to be a narrow victory because it was a tussle from there on out. Yeah, Nick's a stud. And what like this is the thing, he's young, he's going to make mistakes, he's going to look poor at times. That comes with the development. Um, Nick is, yeah, he's just going to do these things, and you have to just sit there and admire it. And when he starts doing it week in, week out, God help us. But yeah, Pies, good win. Is a shame that doesn't really mean a ton in the end, unless you win by however many points you need to against Melbourne, 150, 200 points, whatever it is. But no, it's a good win. It's a good win for the Pies. For the Lions, I forgot what this means for the Lions. This probably means that top four is looking. They need to rely on. I mean, any of the three teams above them could lose, and they could sneak in with a win over the Bombers, which we're expecting them to get. Port obviously play Frio. The Giants play the Dogs, and the Cats play the Eagles. So we're not really expecting the Cats to lose. The other two are losable games. But with that win, they'd be in the driver's seat for. Hang on, no, they can't. They're 6 points behind the Power and the Giants. What am I saying? So they can only finish fourth, and the Cats aren't losing to the Eagles. So what this means is they've effectively lost a double chance, losing to Collingwood. So Collingwood have been a bit in their nightmares for the last couple of years, which isn't great for them. Ignore everything I just said. They're probably not going to make top four now. It also means that if Carlton make it, we're probably going to have to go to Brisbane, which is not great. But yeah, is what it is for the Lions. Really a symptom of what they dished up in the first half of the year, which is annoying. They'll still take their final spot, given what happened there. But you gotta wonder what could have been because are they my flag favourite anymore? Question has to be asked. Port Adelaide and Adelaide. Oh, venom. Bit of venom in this one. Where do we start? Let's start with the football first because there's a little bit to unpack after that. Um, Jason Horne-Francis, Zach Butters, the two of them were probably the two best Port Adelaide players on the night. But Ollie Wines and Connor Rosie and Willem Drew were also outstanding. And I think this is really the first time from memory that the five of them have just been as cohesive as they have been. And that's a great sign heading into finals for Port because they're going to come up against some really good midfields. Zach Butters was best on quite clearly with his 42, but just a really good performance. Another really good performance from the Power. Going into the next game against Freo, they will be without Dan Houston. How many weeks would I give Dan Houston is the question. Um, the key point for me is Isaac Rankin has taken possession of the football. Dan Houston's going in, the football sort of in the air as he's going in. There is no excuse to not contest it. Instead, tucking your shoulder in. Like it baffles me that it even happened the way it did. Like I've got it up right now and I'm just viewing it to be able to speak of it as I'm doing this. There's absolutely no excuse to do this. He hasn't made contact with his head, but Isaac Rankin has hit the deck with like some of the most force I've ever seen in my life. He's concussed. I don't think they can give any less than 6 weeks. 6 weeks for that. Like at bare minimum 4, because like you look back to like Luke Parker's one, and granted the circumstances are different because Luke Parker was off the ball, but the ball coming through, I guess there was an attempt to shepherd there. There are other motivations, if that makes sense. Ball coming down in the air. I don't understand how you have any other thought in your head than to contest that football when you're an Australian defender. Like Dan Houston's just had the biggest brain fade of all time there. But yeah, I'd give him 6 for it. Some people are saying as much as 8. I think that's harsh. I'd say 6 is fair. I'd say four is probably not enough, but enough for me to not complain too much. Any less than four, and I'm baffled, to be honest. So he's gone. Uh, oh, before I go on to the next game, Joshua Shelley. Um, wow. I've never seen a player. Oh, I probably have seen players like it, but I haven't seen many players with the ability to rile up a group of fans like Joshua Shelley has and will undoubtedly continue to do for the rest of his career, or for as long as he plays for the Adelaide Football Club. Because he just had the power fans like that. All week they were just ready to gun for his head, and then he kicks that goal and oh, Josh, Josh, you're a good lad. Have never been the biggest fan of Rochelle and his I wouldn't call them antics, but the braggadocious, that's a big word. What? Nature of how he goes about his celebrations and his football when he's probably not at the level yet entirely to be able to do that and get away with it. But that power celebration was just. But you know what? I think he's going to be good. He's going to be good, and then it's more than warranted to do what he's doing. So well done to him, and well done to the power. They got the last laugh in the end, and that's all that matters. St Kilda and Geelong. How's this happened? How has this happened? I won by 18 points. Doesn't look comfortable on paper, but I'd say it was a comfortable victory in that fourth quarter. They just chipped away at them and made them look silly. I don't know. I don't know how they've done that. Like Jeremy Cameron kicks two late goals, so it should have been a lot more than 18 points. Right, they just made them look poor. And you wonder now, I don't even know how to explain a game like this because this is so far out of the expectations. The only thing I can take from this game is looking ahead to next week. What does this mean for my side? Because I think the Cats are probably going to beat the Eagles, so they'll be safely in top four. The Saints aren't going to make finals. But what are we coming up against next week? Am I confident after what we saw against the Eagles, which we'll talk about later? Yes. But the Saints, they just got the job done. They knew how to get the job done. Fair play to them. Jack Steele, just like some of the best football I've seen him play in a long time. 27, 2 goals, 10 marks, 10 tackles. What more can you ask for from him as a captain to drag them over the line, especially those 2 goals? Good footy from him. Yeah, they ran over the Cats, and fair play to them. Not much more to say there. A lot to say here. Bulldogs and North Melbourne. So the Bulldogs get the win by 96 points. Sam Darcy, 7-1 43. North Melbourne, 6-6 42. That is the stat of the year for me. That is just like, would you have ever expected Sam Darcy to kick 7 goals in a game coming into this year? Probably not. Some people didn't even know if he was going to play early in the year. He's just so good at football. And you look back to last week where he kicked 1 goal 5, and you think, how many goals could he have in a 2 week span right now if he kicked straight last week? So that's just, yeah, he demolished them. It'd be disheartening for North fans to see how they played in this game, given all the good work they've done leading up into this game. They really need a big week next week. And I don't know if they're going to get it because they're playing the Hawks in Tassie. So good luck with that. But for them to go into 2025 with 2 massive losses potentially, I still think they'll be fine. But that's, yeah, bad. Bad from the Roos. Speaking of straight kicking, though, on that Sam Darcy point, I'm still really concerned about the Bulldogs with their kicking. So they kicked 20 goals, 18 this time around. More goals than behinds. That's a tick. It's a small tick, but it's a tick in terms of moving in the right direction. They've still had 38 scoring shots and only just reached a pass mark, the halfway mark, really. Now, North aren't a good football team right now. So they were expecting to win, and having 38 scoring shots, you're going to beat North Melbourne probably 99% of the time. 99.99% of the time, rather. Probably 100% of the time. But they're not going to have as many scoring shots against. If they go into finals and they play Hawthorn, they're not having that many scoring shots. They're not having that many scoring shots against probably any of the sides in the top eight. So if they only have 20 in those games and they go out and kick 11 goals, 9, or 10 goals, 10, what are the odds they're winning the games of football with 70 points in the bag, 75 points in the bag, whatever it is, around that mark? And this is what I think about. When you're having as many scoring shots as you are, you're always going to crack the ton and you're probably always going to win the game of football. But they're not going to do it against the big teams. And it's a worry. It's a massive worry. Still, I think they're an outstanding football team. I'm still a big rat for the Dogs. And I still think they're going to make the grand final based off this. Like I was tentative last week because they obviously lost that game and the kicking was awful. I think they're going to make the grand final because how long can they kick like this for? They've been doing it for weeks. I actually didn't really touch on this last week when I was speaking about it. I only said a couple of weeks, but for probably 5 or 6 weeks, they've been in negatives for goals and behinds, like more behinds than goals. Round 18, they did it, I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to go through every game. This is going to take so long. 14-16 in round 18. Everything after that was in the negatives until this week. So 5 weeks in a row, they did it. And now they finally got back to the positives, which is good, but they've still kicked 18 behinds. So how much longer can they do this? I don't know. If they clean that up, I think they're unstoppable. Genuinely think they're unstoppable. Like Bont kicked 2 behinds. That's their most reliable player. If he turns those into 2 goals, that's just the finest of margins. 2 behinds into 2 goals, it's 22-16 and it looks a lot better. And they win by a fair bit more as well. Like they're just asking for people who they can usually rely on to stand up. Bailey Dale kicks a behind. Um, Jamara, how did he do? 3 goals, 1, so he was actually quite good. I thought he kicked more behinds than that. But yeah, it's fine margins. It's just certain players on any given night being more clinical. But I think they're good. I think they're good, the Dogs. And I think they'll continue to be good. If it's a Dogs Hawthorn elimination final, I mean, speaking of the Hawks, we'll go into that game. Hawthorn Richmond, just dominant. Just they could be the real deal, the Hawks. Like, at what point do you move from the school of thought of this is a team who started really poorly and are going through a really good patch and might eventually peter out into the school of thought of this is a team that just needed a little bit of time this season to mold their game the way they wanted to, and now they're really hitting their straps and no one's stopping them. No one's stopping them. Those are really the two possible scenarios. We'll see how it plays out in finals because they're almost guaranteed. I mean, they're playing North next week, so if they lose and they get jumped, I'd be gobsmacked. But yeah, Hawthorn would just You can drop all the it was just Richmond's all you want, but you can only beat the teams in front of you, and they smacked them, absolutely smacked them. Granted, the start was a lot better. Like eventually, the Tigers beat them in the second quarter, and well, they didn't beat them thereafter. But um, yeah, just absolute, really impressive from the Hawks. I think Sam Mitchell is one of the most outstanding coaches I've ever seen already. And what I mean by that is relative to what he's got in front of him. So he's only coached for 2 years, so he's obviously not one of the best coaches of all time yet, but he will be because what he's done with what he's had at his disposal is just unbelievable. He's so good. I feel like I didn't really get across my point just then. So let me reiterate. He's not one of the greatest coaches I've ever seen in the way that you think. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to vocalize what I've got in my head. He's just really good. He's just really good. I like Sam Mitchell a lot. I could listen to him talk all day, honestly. I've said that 100 times this week. To anyone who has started a Hawthorn conversation with me, I could just listen to him talk all day. He's so switched on. And it translates into the football. Like he some of the stuff the Hawks are doing, I'm like, where's this come from? Why is no other club doing this? Because no other club is doing it. And it's going to be so hard to stop. I really want a Hawks Dogs elimination final. And I'll eat my words with one of those teams if that happens. Because if they end up on separate sides, if one of them finishes fifth, one of them finishes sixth, if they end up in separate elimination finals, when was the last time that two teams played in elimination finals and then met in the grand final? That's all I'm saying. Has it ever happened? Probably not. I'll just leave that one there with you. When was the last time two teams played an elimination final and met in the grand final? Because if they don't meet in the same elimination final, finals preview is next week. Finals preview is next week, my friends. Next game, West Coast and Carlton. It's the last game of the week. I don't know why I thought there was. I left a little pause because I wasn't sure what was left. West Coast and Carlton. Sigh of relief. Sigh of relief. The Baggers have picked up the win, ladies and gentlemen, and it was good as well. It was bloody good. Good game of football from Carlton. Drop all the it was only West Coast you want. Drown me in it was only West Coast because all week people had West Coast winning. So I'm just saying we've gone out and we've dispatched of them, and people are now changing tact so quickly because they genuinely hate the Carlton Football Club. Just give us credit for give Michael Voss credit first for adjusting the way he did, backing his game plan in, or new game plan because it was a very different look Carlton side, and getting the job done. The boys getting the job done. Just let's start with Patrick Cripps. This guy is if he doesn't win the Brownlow, I'll be gobsmacked. He's my pick for the Brownlow in the least biased way possible. The amount of times I've seen this guy just grab us by the scruff of the neck and drag us through the shit this season. Patrick Cripps, all plaudits to you, my friend. Um, Outstanding. Outside of that, Ollie Hollands had his best game ever, second season, and he's going to really be looking good heading into next year if he plays like this more often. He's going to develop and he's going to be very good because that is as mature of a game as I've seen from him. Full stop. Matt Kennedy and Brody Kemp as makeshift shift forwards were just fantastic. Matt Kennedy was unreal, I thought. And Brody Kemp, I mean, all week the rhetoric was who will Carlton be swinging forward? Is it Brody Kemp? Is it Lewis Young? Is it Mitch McGovern? Didn't want it to be Mitch McGovern because I thought his intercepting power was too important against the West Coast side that could easily be broken down in transition. And I didn't want Lewis Young because I didn't think his forward craft was nearly good enough, and he was very good in the back line. Credit to Lewis Young for doing the job he did, given some of the criticism he's faced previously from the general footballing public. But Brody was just unreal. 4 goals. You can't ask for anything else when you're playing up forward. Well done, Brody. Lockie Cowan was unreal, I thought. That kid's going to be a superstar. hopefully he gets his rising star on tonight. We'll know by the time this pod is up. So please don't laugh at me, but I think he might have that one. I can't think of any other rising star candidate that hasn't got one first, that really just starred this weekend. But on that point, Jackson Binns was also very good, particularly in the second half. I thought his first half was a bit, it took him some time to settle into the game. It was a bit frustrating at times, some of the things he did, but he was very good late. And the other two, well, Binns wasn't a debutant, but the two debutants, Cooper Lord was very good, and Ashton Moyer comes on, and this kid's got something. Firstly, unbelievable goal. Great awareness to be able to pull that one off. Two very good marks, one of which led to a scoring shot, albeit it was a miss. He's got some presence, this kid. He's got some presence. What he was showing last night was a bit of what I want Jack Martin to show every week when he's fit. So really, this puts the pressure on someone like a Jack Martin now, where if you don't get fit and if you don't start playing like this kid was playing last night, assuming he keeps playing like this in the VFL, in the senior side, wherever he finds himself, pressure's on. Just a good team performance overall. I thought we were tougher. I thought we attacked the game with more desire. I thought the pressure was up, not so much early. Some of it was dreadful in the first quarter, I can't lie. It took us a little bit to settle into the game, and it was a tight game heading into that second. So, first quarter is what it is, because those last three quarters, I just thought we wanted it, and you could tell we wanted it, and they got the job done. The plea now is going to St Kilda and keep wanting it. Do it for us. Do it for yourselves. Do it for any football fan that's ever doubted what this team has to offer, because Carlton fans, we know what this team has to offer and what this team can offer. They just need to show it more consistently. And Michael Voss has been saying that we haven't shown it consistently enough in home and away season since he's been there. So do it. Ball's in your court, Carlton. Do it. Get it done. With that, let's move into the Supercoach review. All right, Supercoach review. I scored 2,240 points this week, which is not good. Especially when I scored, 2,500 last week. I've gone as high as 2,600. Where did I go wrong? Let's start with Chad Warner. This was out of my hands, obviously. Got injured. I don't have any trades. I probably wouldn't trade anyway off a 1 week injury, which is what it's looking like, I think. I hope. But Cooper Lord came in. Wasn't my worst player, so I can't really have a go at Cooper Lord. He outscored Grundy. He outscored Luke Ryan. And he only missed Matt Real by 2 points. So, yeah, Coop, well done, mate. Where did it go wrong? If I had immaculate foresight, I would have looped Nick Martin instead of Errol Goulden. That didn't work out. Bont went 123, which is okay, equals second highest scoring player. So, I mean, I could have only gone better in one place. But after this fact, that was the best place I could have gone, apart from Lockie Neal, but same. I guess the key point is there weren't really any players who put up amazing scores this week compared to previous weeks. Like Nick Martin was a very good one. No one else went plus 125. So hopefully that changes next week. Not that it really matters too much, because we are coming to the end. But yeah, last week's my last chance to win a grand for top scoring, and it's not looking too good when players are playing like this. But a lot of Supercoach players have these guys, so it's not just me. All right, we've got another quiz here. This one is AFL players who have played every game this season, 2024. I need to know when this was made, I think. It doesn't say. Last updated August 12th. So it was last updated last weekend. So any players who went out for the first time this week, and I think I don't remember if Charlie Curnow missed any games of football. So like he might be on there. But I'm just spitballing. Um, yeah, cool. So there are 126 players who have played every game this year. I'm undoubtedly going to miss some, but I think it'll be fun to watch me rack my brain for probably not 15 minutes. I'm going to try and not take that whole time, but let's do it. Three, two, one, go. We'll start with Charlie Cooner because yeah, okay. So he obviously missed this week, but up until last week he hadn't. So that's a good shout from me. Let's do the Carlton ones first. Who hasn't missed? Wiedering has missed. Had Sard missed until yeah, he did his hammy earlier in the year. Ooh, Nick Newman hasn't missed for sure. Midfielders, Cripper has not missed. So I'd cry if he missed. Jamie Cripps, hello. Um, Midfielders from Carlton haven't missed a game. Blake Acres hasn't missed. He has missed. When did he get injured? I don't know. Ollie Hollins, maybe? No, no. He got dropped at some point, I think. Midfielder from Carlton. Mid. Oh, this is going to be bad if I'm taking this long to get my own club's players. Forwards, let's do forwards. Did Matt always miss? Oh, yeah, good. Midfielders, Carlton. George Hewitt has missed. Kennedy, has he missed? Wow. Chugger's played every game. I mean, I'm not surprised. He's good, but yeah, okay. All right, let's knock it out. Smith. It's a very broad name. Black, white, brown. I'm just Johnson. I think I'm running out of blanket names. Okay. Adelaide, Crouch has not. Why did I go Crouch first? Dawson? No. What? Laird? Thank God. Saligo. Forwards. Fogarty. Good. Another forward. Keys. Good. Rankin's played every game. Walker. Rankin hasn't played every game. Hasn't played every game. Defenders. Michael Annie. Oh dear. What's going on with me? College Asney. Has he played every game? I just want an excuse to show that I can spell it again. He's not played every game. Unless I spelled it wrong. Adelaide forward. Adelaide forward. Lockie Murphy. No, he's definitely not played every game. I can't think of a forward. Let's move on. Brisbane. Stasic has not played every game. Zorko would be the defender. Mids. Neil. No. Dunkley. Yes. Berry. McCluggage. Another defender. Oh, they in alphabetical order by first name. They are. Okay. That kind of helps a little bit. Not really. Not entirely, but yeah, sure. Forwards. Rayner. Yeah. Has Charlie Cameron played every game? Yeah. Darcy Cameron, thank you. There's a lot of Brisbane players. Whoa. I looked at that as if there was like one more. There's heaps. Who's played every game for Brisbane? Okay. Let's think about this. Oh, I don't know. Hmm. Ah, let's skip the team. What am I doing? Um, Collingwood, Pendlebury. No, he broke his ribs. Crisp, he plays every game ever. Um, Even the ones he's not playing for the team that's playing. This is some of my worst work ever. I hope you know this. I'm like my brain has gone to mush, absolute mush. Isaac Quaynor has played every game. I want to say Darcy Moore's also played every game. I want to say that Jamie Elliott's not. Bobby Hill might have played every game. Yeah. Maynard's probably played every game. Dacos, one of them at least would have played. Yeah, both. And we need one more mid. Collingwood midfielders. Would they count Lipinski as a midfielder? Oh, they actually have. Okay, that's great. He's a bit of a mid forward, so I could have counted him as a forward. Essendon, Merritt, Durham. No? When did Sam Durham not play? Caldwell? Yeah. Mackay, Langford, um, Redman. No. Martin. Skip. Freo. Sarong. Brayshaw. Young. God, this is. Yep. Luke Ryan. He's up there. Um, Jordan Clark. Ruck. Jackson. Mid. Ball. Geelong. Hmm. Who's Geelong midfielder that's played every game? It feels like it's the biggest revolving door in the history of AFL football. Danger hasn't played every game. Has Parfitt played every game? Like, I don't know. Clark, Jai Clark. Who? Bose. No? Oh, Max Holmes. He's good. He's real good. Let's go outside of that. Ollie Dempsey. Oh, he's the other mid. Okay, so it is a big revolving door, really. Forward line defenders. Stewart? No, he's definitely not played every game. What am I saying? De Koning? No? Stengel. Not Jeremy Cameron. Not Tom Hawkins. Ah, boy. Guthrie? Zach Guthrie? Yeah. Let's skip it for now. Gold Coast, Anderson, Rowell, um, two defenders. Mac Andrew? It's a forward now, of course. Um, oh, Flanders. Sammy Flanders has played every game. No, he hasn't. He didn't play against Carlton. He didn't play against Carlton. Defenders for Gold Coast. Collins and Ballard? That makes sense. They have four players play every game. Jeez. GWS, Cornelio, Tom Green, Hogan, Toby Green. No, of course not. Gets suspended every year. Um, why am I being dumb? Lockie Ash definitely got dropped. What's wrong with my brain? Connor Iden, Jack Buckley. No? Who's in the midfield? Callahan. In Callahan. Whoa. Brent Daniels hasn't. Yes, he has. He was the sub one, so that's what confused me. Um, James Peatling. Has he ever been dropped? Why am I thinking of James Peatling before like actual obvious players that are going to be in here that are just not coming to my mind? Um, Josh Kelly hasn't. Canelio, I said. Tom Green, I said. Let's move on and come back to it. Hawthorn, there are a lot, a fair few. Warple, Newcomb, Will Day has not. Wyford. Uh, Sicily has not. What's the big bloke's name? Sam Frost. CJ hasn't. Ginnivan. No. Nick Watson definitely hasn't. I'm just checking though, just in case. Connor McDonald. Yeah. Um, Joshua Weddle. Massimo D'Ambrosio. No, he got dropped at some point, I think. Um, Defenders. Scrimshaw. Good player. No. Oh, this is hurting my brain. Melbourne. Viney. Has Oliver played every game? Yeah, he has. Gorn hasn't. Um, Melbourne. Fritsch. Has played every game? No. Van Rooyen? No. Langdon? No. Sparrow, maybe? No. We got defenders. Judd McAvee. Nailed that. Stephen May hasn't. Believer hasn't. Missing a defender, a forward, and another forward. Cade Chandler? Neil Bullen, maybe? It's not how you spell it. Okay. And we're missing one defender. Let's move on. North. Fairview. Jerry, I see there as a ruck. We've got Davies Uniac. We've got Sheasel up until that point. Yep. We missed this week though. Um, Bailey Scott wouldn't have missed. Aiden Core wouldn't have missed. I don't think Chom had missed. Oh, wait, no, he didn't start at the start of the year. Uh, Mids. Has Darcy Tucker missed? No. Oh, he's a defender listed here. Paul Curtis, I don't think has missed. Larky hasn't missed. And midfielders. I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it. Rosie has definitely missed. Butters, I don't know. No. Aaliyah hasn't missed. He has missed. Houston, up until this point, he will miss next week. Um, we've got Drew. Forwards. Burn Jones. No. Who else plays forward? Burn Jones. Jed McEntee, has he missed? I don't even know if he's been playing. I don't think he's been playing. Who plays for Port? Wow, I don't know. Richmond, one player has not missed a game. Nick Vlosten would be my guess. Not him. Ben Miller, maybe. Not him. Dylan Grimes has definitely missed. Nathan Broad is the answer. No, it's not. Was he out earlier? I think he was. Um, who's it? Rioli? Yeah, okay, so Dan Rioli. That's yeah. Wow. St Kilda. A little bit going on here. Marshall, Steele, Sinclair. Did he play around the region? Uh, Wanganeen, Malira. Oh, he's missed. What am I doing? Wilkie. Wilkie is not missed. Is Josh Battle missed? No. Mids. Seb Ross. Darcy Wilson. Is he missed? No. Owens. That's it. That's all Saints. Good. Sydney. You're not Heaney. I'm an idiot. Gordon. James Jordan. Rowbottom's missed. Ruck. Grundy. Lloyd. McCartan. Of course he's missed. Defenders. Sydney. Florent. Blakey. That's not how you spell it. And one mid. One more mid. McInerney has. Rowbottom has. Mills has. Who am I missing? Unless Rowbottom hasn't. Yeah, of course he has. Who's a midfielder? Rowbottom, Goulden, Heaney. Oh, has Chad not missed until this week? Yeah, okay, there we go. That's why I've done that. Oh, forwards. There's forwards here as well. Amadi? No. McDonald? Yes. Hayward? And oh, who plays forward? Happily Wicks? No. Oh, Hayden McLean. Yes, good. West Coast. Tim Kelly. No. Jaden Hunt. No. Uh, oh, Harley. No. What am I saying? West Coast. Oh, I've got 50 seconds left. I've genuinely sorry if you've sat through all of this. This is a long quiz. Bulldogs mids. Bond. Um, Jamara Ugulaga. Ah, who's missed for the dogs? Who's played every game for the Dogs? Oh no. Oh no. Trelaw. No? Bateman, Norton, Darcy, no. Ruck. Who's their ruckman? English. The team who I think is arguably the best in the league is just. I got here too. I didn't get here quick enough. That's really the symptom of this. So I'm going to let it roll out. 92 out of 126 is not awful. I will take that. Who'd I miss? Rochelle, Wilmot, Danaher, Lester, Fletcher, Lohman, Andrew McGrath, and Jake Stringer's probably bad from me, that. Sharp, Banfield, Grind Myers, Close, Henry, Whitfield, idiot. Himmelberg, idiot. Harvey Thomas played every game. Good on him. Bedford, probably should have gotten that. Amon, Connor Nash, Impey, Hardwick, Rivers. Tom Powell, interesting. Bergman. Jackson Mead has played every game for Port Adelaide. Wow. Zirk Thatcher, Jimby, Tom Cole, Brady Hoff, Bailey Williams, Bailey Dale, Bailey Williams, Lockie Bramble, and Latham Vandermeer. Awful. I missed a couple of obvious ones, like Whitfield's probably going to be Australian. Joe Danaher might be all Australian as well. A couple of pretty solid players in there, but all in all, I think I did okay with 92. If the pod's too long, I might have to chop some of that up, but we will work that out when we get there. On to the tips to finish us off. Oh boy, let's do this. Last week I got 6. This week I'll be looking to better that. Granted, my 3 that I got wrong actually didn't affect ladder positioning at all because I got these 2 wrong, but they don't swap because of it. And then I got the Gold Coast game wrong, which Gold Coast and Melbourne move a little bit, but it's all down there. So that being said, Melbourne and Collingwood to start us off. This is a tough one to call. Melbourne have nothing to play for. They can move up to 10th with a win. They can also drop as far as 14th with a loss. But, neither here nor there. Collingwood, on the other hand, they can win by like 150 points. It's not even letting me go that far. Yes, it is. There we go. Could win by as much as 150 points and make finals if Carlton lose or Hawthorn lose. It's not going to happen. I do think, however, that Collingwood will take a bit out of last week. So will Melbourne, in fairness. Melbourne won quite comfortably against the Suns, but there's just something about Friday Night Lights at the G, and I don't really trust Melbourne fully at this stage. Yeah, it's going to be the Pies, I think. I think it'll be tighter than some Pies fans might be expecting. I'm going to say Pies by 12 points. I think we're in for a good game, despite the low stakes, which is not what we would have been expecting at the start of this year. Geelong and West Coast is going to be a real thumping. I think, at Kardinia Park. The Cats need to take a bit of momentum into September after what they copped last week. And I think they're going to do that. I think they'll win by 48 points. Richmond and Gold Coast. If they beat Essendon at Marvel, surely they can beat the Tigers at the G, right? You would think. But also, I don't know. There's just something about the Tigers against Dimmer. Nothing to play for. The Suns aren't very good away from home. I think it'll be a lot closer than some people might give Richmond credit for again. I think the Suns will win, but I think they're only going to win by 14 points. I hope that's a good game. This one may not be as fun. Yeah, the Hawks are going to win by, yeah, in Tassie at York Park. Yeah, they're going to win by 80 points, which will be terrible for North going into next year, having 2 really thumping losses at the hands of 2 very good teams, to be fair. Probably the 2 most exciting teams in the comp as it stands. But there's nothing you can do. It's inevitable. The Hawks are playing for position at this point. Speaking of a team that they're playing for position against, Brisbane and the Bombers. Bombers again have nothing to play for. They looked poor last week as well. They were very poor, and Brisbane aren't going to give them the same um, a leg up that Sydney did in that first half, the same opportunity to take the game away. So it's going to be ugly, this one, I think, as well. I think they're going to win by 10 goals. 10 goals at the Gabba feels right. Doesn't even put them in the top four, though, which is because I've already given Geelong the win. So that's all pretty much set there. Sydney will beat Adelaide. Well, you look back to this fixture last year, though, and Ben Keys. Oh, it's going to be venomous. It could be venomous. I don't think it's going to be a big win from Sydney either, because I can't speak for their starts to games of football. Adelaide have been okay, so I think it might start looking a bit tussly. Sydney will get away a little bit, and they'll win by 25 points. This is a big one. This is a big one. The Giants fighting for top four positioning. The Dogs fighting for a home elimination final, which they will get if they win. I say that it'll be at the G regardless, won't it? The Dogs will have to play at home at the G against the Hawks if they finish sixth. Stiff on them, but I still think they'll fight for it. I still think they'll fight for it, and I think they need to carry momentum into September. I've been talking about carrying momentum a lot today, I think. But yeah, I think they're going to win in Ballarat. I think they'll beat the Giants and they'll prove that they're a threat. It won't be pretty, it won't be comfortable by any stretch, but I think they're going to do it. How much longer can they be inaccurate for? Like, seriously. Carlton St Kilda. I think we're going to win well. They love giving me false hope, this football team, but I think we're going to win well. The Saints are a lot better than the Eagles, but the way we played on Sunday just has given me this renewed optimism in the system, the players, Michael Voss as a coach. We've put ourselves in a stiff position in terms of September. Because we're like, I'll give us the win now. I think we're going to win by 30 points. We're eighth. So we put ourselves in a sticky position where we're going to have to go to Brisbane, and that is just a whole different beast. But in terms of how we play football, how we play our football, and my confidence heading into next year, it's been renewed a little bit, and I want that to continue into September. So I think we win. That just means that this game doesn't matter because Port can't finish top. They also can't drop. Freo can't finish in the 8. They also can't drop, which means it is 2v10, and that is what it is. And I think Port are going to want a big win to go into September with momentum, carry some momentum in. So I think they're going to do that, and I think they're going to win by a lot in Perth. I think they're going to win by 40 points, which means this is what I got going into finals. Sydney versus Geelong at the SCG. Brisbane versus Carlton at the Gabba. Help me. The Bulldogs and the Hawks in an elimination final, which I hate because I think they're the two best teams. I really think they're the two best teams. I want one of these two teams to lose. No, I don't, because then we play one of them. No, thank you. I want Brisbane to lose. I want Brisbane to lose to Essendon. No, because then we play one of them. What am I doing? No, they can play each other. Ignore me. Bulldogs Hawthorn. It's great. I don't want to. I don't want to go near them. Don't want to touch them. Yeah, Bulldogs and Hawthorn. That'll be blockbuster. And Port and the Giants in a little replay of 2023. Can Port get their revenge? We'll see. Will it even be the game? We'll see. But yeah, that's tips done. And I will stop this recording. So that is it for episode 2 of Footy and Stuff. If this is your second episode, thank you for sticking by. Please like and subscribe and comment your suggestions and all that good stuff because it all helps and it will all make this podcast better. If this is your first episode and you want to stick around, I am grateful for that. If not, thank you for watching one episode. I appreciate it. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, drop us a follow, give us a rating, that good stuff. It all helps. And give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter as well at Footy Stuff Pod. And follow the TikTok, my personal TikTok at Brandon.Patain. I think that's my at. If it's not, I don't know. You might have seen some stuff anyway. You'll find it. Yeah, that's where I'm posting clips. So do that, and that is it. I'm out for the week. I'll see you next week for a finals preview. Already at finals, geez. Yeah, that'll be fun. Hopefully Carlton are in it. Otherwise, it will be solemn. But until then, peace out. Go Blues. See you next week.